Okay, I think we'll go ahead and get started now. We have a short time frame. Can the online folks hear me okay? Hopefully, yes. All right.
Yep.
This is going to be a quick overview of a few little tips and tricks about Windows 10. We've had Windows 10 out on our campus now for a couple of years at least. So hopefully folks are starting to get used to that. We've had it in our labs now for, I believe, at least 2 years, if not more now. And our fax out machines have been going out with it for about a year and a half, 2 years. I'm going to show a couple things from this instructor machine where I am here. This just might be some useful tips and tricks for folks to be aware of. I will note that our machines here are customized a bit compared to what folks will see at home. Obviously, you may tweak your machines at home more based on what they will suit you, your needs. But feel free to take these things and roll with them. One of the biggest things I want to start with is the user interface itself in Windows 10. And one of the biggest things will be the start menu look and feel. On our setups on campus, on the fax staff machine side, we tend to have a setup where we will pin a set of icons for the browsers, as well as the Microsoft Office products over here. So for example, you would see a set of icons here for the Office products and a set of icons for the browsers. And it would show up in 2 rows here, like so. But something I recommend doing is, if you have applications that you use a lot, you can also pin those things in there too. For example, if I wanted to pin this application here, I could right-click, pin the start like so, and easily access that way, having to navigate through my start menu. You can also, in addition to pinning your start menu, pin them to your taskbar down here at the bottom. You can do that by right-clicking and go to More, and pin to your taskbar, and there it is. Also, if you have an application open, while it's open, you can also right-click, and if I hadn't already done this, you could pin it to the taskbar at that point as well. So anything that's readily, or something you want to readily access, make sure it's there for you. You can have those couple of options available.
Is that machine specific?
It's actually user specific. So when you're logged into your profile on the machine, that will show that way for you only. If somebody else were to log into your computer with their profile, they would not have that available. With Windows 10 in particular, Microsoft has gotten, I should say, it's gone the route of being very user profile centric. So customizations that are done by a user are only hold for that person in particular, which has made it a challenge for CTS to try to customize things to the extent that we do in our images so that everybody gets the same initial look and feel, especially in our labs in particular. I will note that we are starting to look forward to tweaking some things in the future in terms of our images so that there may not be quite as much customization. We will leave it to the end user to do some of these things on their own a lot more. And a part of that has to do with how Microsoft's, now every 6 months or so, feature updates are constantly tweaking things on the back end, and it makes it a more challenging thing for us to deal with that. Which will in turn kind of make it more like a home machine where we leave it to you to kind of do things as you see fit. One of the other major things I wanted to show, if you haven't already seen this, is the Cortana search bar right here. On some machines, you may just see an icon that looks like a circular O, or you may see the actual search box. Initially, when I started using Windows 10, this wasn't a big thing for me, but I have found more and more that this has become incredibly useful, especially if you have a lot of things on the machine and you want to find something pretty quickly. We don't do this on our machines on campus, but this is something that you can do at home, especially if you wanted to. Cortana is the Microsoft version of Siri, if you have a Mac. You can actually tell Cortana to actually pick up your microphone. You can say, hey, Cortana, search for, or something like that. And it would actually do the search for you based on your audio input. We don't do that here, but you can certainly do that at home if you wanted to. In this case, I want to search for Google Chrome. I start typing Google, and because it's installed on the machine, Lo and behold, the first thing I get is a Google Chrome instance. I can click on that and start it up. Pretty cool. If I wanted to search for a document, let's see, we got a document here, and say accessible. I can actually search for things that might be on my desktop or on the web even too. By default, the search engine that the Cortana function will use will be Bing. It's not Google. I think you might be able to tweak that. I have not delved into it. But this will let you actually search the web for results too, if you wanted to behind just your own computer. So keep that in mind that these are pretty useful things you could use for looking around your computer and or even the web if you wanted to. Of course, I started typing wrong, but there's the actual document I was looking for originally. I can just click it right there and bring that up. But you can see it also brings up other things that might be looking for in terms of applications or other suggestions as well. Now, with previous versions of Windows, folks may recall that there is the control panel option where you can tweak all of your machine settings and stuff like that, your resolution, your background, all that good stuff. Windows 10 has tweaked a lot of that to be in this more modern interface that they call the settings window, which you can get to by going to this little kind of circular gear bar here in the start menu. From a previous presentation, but this is basically the interface you get to start with. You have a set of options here, basic or higher level options. You can actually search for a specific thing. So if I wanted to search for Windows Update, I can type like the Update option and go to Windows Update Settings or check for updates, and it brings me to that particular panel. Now, granted, on campus we have additional options set, so I can't show certain things here. But if you were to look at this on your home machine, you can actually go into here and check your updates and see what's available, change advanced options, stuff like that. But the thing to know about the settings panel as a whole is that ultimately this is Microsoft's way of telling you this is your new control panel. This is where you do all of your changes. However, I will show you that if you search for control, at least as of right now, the old school control panel is still in here. You can still do some stuff with this if this is the way that you're used to things. Some of these options will end up taking you back to the settings window though too, based on what you're looking for. So if I was to go into, what's one that would probably do this? I'm not sure offhand. But there are some options that may actually kick you back out to this. But for example, if you want to change like your wallpaper, always a fun one for people to get new computers in their office. Normally you right click and you go to personalize. That opens up the old school control panel and takes you into that stuff where you can change it. Look what happens if I click this now. It opens up a settings panel where you can change that stuff. So it looks a little different, more modern, so to speak, but it also gives you access to other related features here too that you may want to tweak. So you want to change your background, you can do that. You want to tweak your color scheme, you can do that. The lock screen, if you do Control L for locking while you walk over to the computer, you can tweak that screen. If you have a theme you want to set, some start menu settings you might want to change, or the taskbar. Again, CTS programs some of this into our images already, but especially if you're at home, you want to tweak some stuff, it's great to know that this is where all that stuff lives nowadays. Something else that's important to notice, people would ask, how do I log out of my machine, or how do I turn off my machine in Windows 10? I'm not quite sure where that exists. They've kind of tweaked that option a bit. On our machines, we customize this a bit too, but the power icon in this bottom left-hand corner of the start menu will give you the options that you need for shutting down or restarting it fundamentally. On a home machine, you might see other options like sleeping or hibernating in here as well. But in our machines, especially in lab computers and instructional machines, we only allow shutdown and or restarts here. Faxed out computers in your offices, you might see the sleep or hibernate there too, especially with laptops. So be aware that that's where your power options are. It's right click or left clicking going right in this corner. Now, this icon right here, this little kind of outline of a person, this will show you your user account. There's not a lot we can do with this on a lab machine, but if I were to right-click at home, I would also have an option for logging out or switching user. So functions that were available a lot more easily in Windows 7. So they kind of hide that a bit, but it's a matter of just understanding where that is. On our machines here, we kind of tweak those settings, so in a lab you can't do that. You can only log off, you can only restart or shut down. So that's why I can't really demo that per se here. The My Computer, the Windows Explorer window is basically the same as it always has been. Cosmetically, maybe just like a little different. The most important thing to note here is that just like with Office, the later revisions that we have out the door now, most of your stuff will be under these various tabs. These are called ribbons, and this is where Microsoft has gone in terms of most of their functionality. They don't want to have everything just out in the open. They want to collapse everything and have you click on different ribbons for things you want. So even under just the Windows Explorer, you have to click on a couple different items to get your different views and what things you want to have access to. So be aware that you may not see what you want immediately, but if you click on that, that'll give you the functions that you hopefully would be looking for. I can't demo this per se on this computer again because we have lab machines locked down, but something else I wanted to really highlight and that Microsoft is moving towards is the Microsoft Store as a whole. If you go to the Start menu on a regular machine in your office or on your home machine, if you go down to the M's, you'll see an option under the M's that'll say Microsoft Store. If you go to that, it's actually going to open up a window or an app window, technically, that will link you to the Microsoft Store where you can actually go in just like you would on an Android device, like the Play Store, or your App Store on a Mac or iOS device. You can actually go ahead and grab applications to download. You can sign in with an account if you want to. You can tie it to a credit card if you so desire. Or you can go ahead and grab free applications if you want to. I've actually done this a number of times on the machine at home where I've grabbed like a weather application, a online radio application, and I actually even have Netflix app downloaded on my desktop at home. So while I'm working on my desktop at home, I can stream Netflix from that application there too. And most of that stuff is free. It's really great to take a look through there and see what you find. I do believe that Microsoft will be kind of going their routes in the future, getting most everything into the Microsoft Store, where you can grab everything as opposed to traditional install through a CD or a USB drive or something like that thing going forward, because that makes it much more accessible for almost any device to get to it. Windows 10 itself is built to be used on not just traditional computers, but also like Microsoft Surface devices, their tablet revision. You can actually have a full installation of Microsoft Windows 10 on those too. And obviously those don't have, well, I think they do have USB drives, but you don't have CD devices or other methods you can put in terms of like desktops do. So that gives you a way to get applications you normally wouldn't have access to. Does anybody have any questions so far about any of that stuff? Anybody online have questions? Does anything come through chat yet? I wish I could demo that. I just can't do it, unfortunately, in this machine. But it's a really fantastic tool to be aware of. We actually have it turned up. Like if I was to go to Store here, it actually just, it won't show up because we disable it on purpose because of the problems it creates for us on lab images. Let's see what else we have noted here. Something else I want to note of particular importance, not per se within the look and feel of Windows 10, but more with the updating process and how Microsoft is working with things. It's very important to note that you'll still get Windows updates on a monthly basis from Microsoft. The traditional patching, updating your computer every month, every patch Tuesday. They'll release security updates and a few other things. But Microsoft has stated, they haven't changed this yet as far as I know, that Windows 10 as we know it as an operating system is their, quote, last release of an operating system. And what they're doing going forward is they're going to treat it more as a software as a service type of situation, where every 6 months or twice a year, they are releasing not service packs, but what they're calling feature updates that will basically update your computer, your Windows operating system itself, to basically a newer version of Windows 10. So we've already seen this happen in a few cases, and it's actually, what it actually does is it will download a full 4 gig or so update to your computer. It'll reboot. It'll take some time to process, usually about 30 minutes to maybe up to 60 minutes, depending on your computer's speed and your age of the computer. And once it's done, you'll have a new feature update. We are slightly behind in our revisions because we like to test everything and make sure it works before we release it to the public. Computers that are out there at home in the wild, you may actually see version 1803 or more likely even maybe version 1809. And the way that you can tell that is if you go into settings, you go to system, go to about, and let's see, where is it? Windows specifications. That'll tell you right there what version of Windows you're actually running. So we have updated our labs over winter break to be version 1803. Microsoft has already put out version 1809. And I suspect that come March or April, they will release 1903 for their next feature update. There is no rhyme or reason per se as to when home machines, consumer machines will get the updates. Microsoft has their own algorithm as to how they determine when machines should get those updates. But be aware that eventually they try to push this out to machines that are in their specifications to get Windows 10. So machines that are within 3 to 4 years, eventually they will get these feature updates. Microsoft is much more forceful about wanting the machines to be patched and updated as best they can. At this point, it's getting close to 10:20, the end of the session here. Does anybody either here or in chat have any questions they want to ask? Anything in particular about Windows 10? Any other things you may want to see? All right.
I have just kind of a basic question.
Yep.
You know, when I'm teaching and I want to log off or restart the computer when I'm done my class, is it better to log off or restart?
So are you talking about this, like the icon right here, for example?
Yeah, I guess that makes me a little uncomfortable. I think it's not as secure as restarting the
So
computer, but am I doing a disadvantage to the system if I'm restarting every single time?
So I will say that for lab and instructional machines, the reason we have this on here, it's kind of a false indicator. Even this will actually force a reboot. And that's because we have defreeze software on the machines that basically protects it. So anything that you do while you're logged in, the minute that you even hit log off, it'll actually force a restart because of defreeze, and it reverts it back to a previous state where you were never signed in. So that's a method that we have been using for a long time to preserve a working machine state. And it also preserves user security because anything you do is only there for the duration of your session. The minute it gets rebooted or shut down and powered back on, it's gone. So you can pull down, sensitive information if you wanted to, and then the minute you're done, it's gone.
So it's the same logging out.
Yeah, we have it called logout here, but it really does force a restart. Yeah. Okay. I think that's it.
Thank you.